Good morning from Chiang Dao. It's 8:45 in the morning. I'm still here at my guest house, and today is Chiang Dao Cave Day. Visiting this cave is one of the main reasons I wanted to return to Chiang Dao. So here I am, fully rested, ready to go. I'm all packed up. I remembered to pack my flashlight this time, so I've got my flashlight and I'm bringing my Panasonic G85 with me, so that should be better than the GoPro for, filming the interior of the cave. And I don't know much about this cave yet. I know it's called the Chiang Dao Cave, and it's located, or there's a temple also at the cave, which I think is called Wat Tham Chiang Dao, and Tham is the Thai word for cave. So this is the cave temple, and you go there to see the cave. And I met a couple yesterday. A couple foreigners were riding a bicycle around that area, and I noticed that the guy was holding a GoPro. So I took that as a way to open a conversation with them, kind of an icebreaker. I stopped near their bicycles and I asked, "Oh, are you, filming with your GoPro for YouTube?" And they told me that they were. For this couple, the woman, I believe, is from Poland and the guy is from Romania, but their YouTube channel is called There to Explore. And they started their trip in Asia just a couple of months ago. They went to Sri Lanka, did some traveling there, and then they came here to Thailand, and they're, documenting the experience in a kind of a casual fashion with a GoPro Hero 9. So I felt a kinship with them right away, and we could bond over some of the benefits and problems of using a GoPro. But anyway, they had been to the cave, and they told me that you can see sort of a general cavern that's all nicely lit up, and that costs 40 baht just to go into there. And then you can pay 200 baht, and then you get a guide with a lantern that takes you deeper into the cave, and you have more of a caving experience. So I assume I'm going to do both. I'll see the main part of the cave, and then I'll go a bit deeper with the guide. But beyond that, I don't know anything about the place. And here's the intersection. You can see the sign right there, Chiang Dao Cave, 5 kilometers. And right up ahead there, that is Chiang Dao Mountain, or as they call it locally, Doi Chiang Dao. So I think the Thai word Doi actually means hill. I'm not sure if there's a different word for hill and mountain. Unfortunately, it continues to be hazy, so you don't really get to appreciate what that mountain looks like. I saw it back in January when it was very clear, and it was quite a nice view. But it's still pretty impressive. And there are some really nice coffee shops out here too. We're just passing All Day Coffee on my left. Very nice place. And of course, my favorite coffee shop is Pronto Coffee, which is up ahead. I went there yesterday morning. My whole video was pretty much all about the coffee shop. Right here is a beautiful spot on this highway where you're passing by a lot of really large trees. And I think there's something special about these trees. I've seen people stopping and taking pictures of them. But as you can see, we're riding through kind of a series of these quite large trees at the side of the road. There's a whole set of them right ahead of me. And I think these trees are protected and preserved. There's something special about them, but I don't quite know what it is. But certainly just by looking at them, they're special because they're quite large. It's pretty rare for me to see trees this big in Thailand. And yeah, I stopped here yesterday as well after my visit to the coffee shop, and I shot some of this scenery with the G85. But this is what it looks like on the GoPro. And there it is. Chiang Dao Mountain, getting very close to the temple and the cave complex. I still don't know how one experiences this mountain. I haven't gone very far on any of the nearby roads. The last time I was here, it started to rain heavily every day, and my time was very short, and I wasn't able to explore the area, which is why I came back. It's very easy to get to this cave, by the way. You just get on this main road outside of Chiang Dao, and then you just follow it all the way to here. Basically, I think just up ahead is the turnoff for the temple and the cave. And right here is the entrance to the temple and the Chiang Dao cave. There's the sign for the cave. And as I mentioned, the cave itself is part of a temple complex. So here's the entrance to the temple itself. And then the parking and the cave, like the parking to visit the cave, is off to the right here. Yeah, they've got some big signs everywhere directing people like me, which I like. Look at this. I love signs so much. Chiang Dao Cave, you know, big arrow. And then right over here, another one, just to make sure you don't get lost. And it guides you all the way to this point right here, and that's the official entrance to the cave. All set for the Chiang Dao Cave, at least I think I am. At the last minute, I decided to put the GoPro on my chest mount here, and I have it connected to a separate microphone to the microphone I had plugged into the Panasonic. So we are super professional today. At least we're trying to, you know, I got off my scooter and I decided to do this, and I don't know, it probably took me half an hour to get everything all set up in terms of my cameras. It feels like I'm going into battle sometimes with all the time and effort it takes to get the cameras ready. A lot of details to take care of. Surprisingly complicated. So here is a little temple at the beginning, and there's some of the mountain, and here is the entrance. So it's time to figure all this out. How exactly do you go into the cave? Who do you pay and for what? Okay. And they're still keeping me happy with the signs. Chiang Dao Cave. This way. Something I never thought of until I left my guest houses. Since I was going into a cave and it's getting hotter, I decided to wear my shorts. But this cave is inside a temple complex, and technically you're not supposed to be wearing shorts. But people at the entrance kind of waved me through. Maybe they make an exception for people who are going into the cave. You're allowed to wear sportier type clothing. But yeah, some beautiful artwork here. Statues. And quite an impressive gong over here. It's Beautifully landscaped inside here. Feels like I'm inside a nice garden. I hadn't seen a display quite like this before. This is a place where you can make a donation to the temple, and they have most temples you can donate based on your birthday of the week, but I hadn't seen it quite like this. There's actually a separate little compartment here, so you would perform your offering in front of this Buddha image if you were born on a Sunday, and then this one if you were born on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, etc., all the way down to the end. And these over here would be, yeah, I guess zodiac animals for the Buddhist calendar. And I guess based on the year of your birth, you can make a donation here. Year of the pig, year of the dog, year of the rooster, the monkey, and so forth and so on. Yeah, it's very nice in here. Getting closer and closer, I found another sign with an arrow pointing me in this direction. This is definitely something that I've not seen before. Just behind me there, sort of a skeletal figure performing a bow. Here you can feed the fish. Oh, looks like they have something different to feed the fish. 10 baht? Yeah, they have some orange slices and maybe tofu or something like that, or kind of meat. And I guess the fish are over here. So there is my fish food. I got 2 bowls. I didn't have any change, so I put 20 baht into the donation box, and he insisted on giving me 2 because they're only 10 baht each. And there's some of the fish down below. I don't know, let's try one of these slices and see what the fish think of that. They're definitely interested. I don't know if they're that excited about the orange. That one, they just 2 fish took it in their mouth and then spit it out again. And just sank down to the bottom. Let's take the whole second bowl and throw it in all at once. I'm getting very sticky fingers from the orange slices. Still doing some reconnaissance before I go in, as I always like to do. More of the fish pond on this side. And there's the entrance to the Chiang Dao cave. And looking ahead of me at the ticket counter, it says for electricity, 40 baht. So I think that the people I met yesterday told me that the first part of the cavern has electric lights. It's all lit up, and you pay 40 baht to go in there. And then to the interior where you need a lantern, that's when you pay 200 for the guide. And Yeah, I'm not sure whether you pay for both at the same time or you go step by step. We'll find out. Sorry, crowd. And there's my ticket for the cave. You can see the official name of the cave. So far, there's no information about a guide going further in. We'll just see how that works out. Tham Pranon, 360 meters. Oh, it feels nice and cool. There's cold air coming out of the cave. That feels nice. Yeah, already it feels different from Tham Nam Lod, the other cave. I noticed when I was there that it didn't have very much of a Buddhist feeling to it. I would normally expect there to be temples, Buddhist shrines, you know, even inside the cave. But there weren't any. But this one, as you can see, it's quite a different story. The interior, at least this part of the cave, is, wow, oh boy, look at that. It's definitely been turned into a temple on the inside. There's a very beautiful entryway. Some bats flying around. And they have a sign here that kind of explains everything. It says that here you can go two different directions. If I turn right, I go to the reclining Buddha cave, and to the left there's the Hose Cave, Lavalier Cave, and Crystal Cave. And you have to pay 200 baht for a temple lamp and a guide. And it's interesting, they break down the fee down there. 20 baht goes to temple maintenance, 40 baht for the local guide occupational group, 50 baht for kerosene for the lamp, and 90 baht for the guide. But it doesn't actually say which is which. Like, can I go to the right, to the Buddha cave without a guide, and left is with a guide, or vice versa? It doesn't actually explain that. But just to the left of the sign, you've got an elaborate offering display here. Everyone that has come before me, you know, they're Thai, and they were making an offering and praying and then setting up some candles. So, okay, that kind of answers my question. These people are going ahead with a lantern guide, and that's to the left, I think. Anyway, I'm going to head in this direction, because I can go here on my own first. And then I'll come back, perhaps, and then try to make an arrangement with a guide. It'll be interesting to compare this with the cave in Bang Mapa, of course. When I was at Bang Mapa, I had the feeling that the experience of that cave would be improved with electric lights. So this will actually be an interesting comparison, because this part of this cave is lit up. And just in terms of, you know, atmosphere and the experience of visiting it, I can see how I feel. You know, do I like it that there are electric lights in here? Or would I prefer it if it were completely dark? and natural. The cave floor has the same sort of stone as at the other cave that I went to. And I wondered whether the stones had been put there on purpose to make a walkway, but looking at this, it definitely looks natural. But I don't really know what this formation is called. You know, I haven't seen it referenced anywhere. Yeah, it's very much a natural formation, I think. I'm still very much like a detective trying to figure this place out. Because here's a sign pointing me forward into Tham Pranon, which I think is the cave where anyone can go, and then to exit you backtrack. But then I saw this sign at the exact same spot that said, "Dangerous, do not enter without guide." So I wasn't sure which sign I'm supposed to pay attention to go forward. Like, can I or can I not? But then I realized that there's actually a passageway right here. And that one is completely dark. So that direction you can't go without a guide. Me, personally, having the kind of brain I do, I would have a little ribbon or a rope across here, you know, with a sign hanging from the rope saying, you know, no entry without a guide, just to make it clear what we're talking about, because you can't even see that when you walk up to it. So I saw this, and I saw two signs. One saying, you can go this way, and another sign saying, you can't go this way. So I wasn't sure. But there you can't without a guide. But again, yeah, I think I would put a little rope across here to make it clear. Doug, the organizer. It's nice and quiet now that I'm here on my own. And I can hear just a little bit of water dripping around me. And more of this footpath. Looks very mysterious. Very interesting patterns. But I guess that's part of a natural process for a cave. You know, this would have been a riverbed originally, of course. And I guess the flow of water and then water dripping from the ceiling would have created this pattern. Here's a beautiful section of the cave. A lot of stalactites coming down from the ceiling. Quite an interesting one right here. And I'd already forgotten from what I read at the entrance, but I think this cave eventually leads to a reclining Buddha. And that's probably marking, you know, the end of the interior of this part of the cave. It's probably where you turn around and go back to the beginning. Very impressive stalactites here. Look at that. Very much like works of art in the detail and the way they're put together. They're actually quite attractive. So much detail, particularly this one right here. Just to give a sense of the lighting inside the cave, I thought I'd turn the camera around for a second and aim it back at me. To be careful not to bang my head. I don't have a guide ahead of me constantly pointing out dangerous stalactites ahead of me. As you can see, there's a lot of lighting on the inside here. It's very well lit. I haven't reached the reclining Buddha as yet. Right here, there's another large Buddha statue and quite an elaborate display. And every once in a while, you see a bat flit by. And on my left, I noticed a plaque on the wall that is giving the exact latitude and longitude and ceiling thickness. So I guess above me right now, there's 26.783 meters of rock. Right up there. And beyond this Buddha image, there's another very beautiful cavern. What you see, what is around you, you don't really notice right away, I'm finding. I find I have to stop and stay still for a long time and really give myself time to look around. And then I can truly kind of appreciate what I'm seeing. Yeah, the more you stand still, it's like the more you see. Look at that. This cavern system with electricity is turning out to be much larger and much more interesting than I expected. So I'm coming up with another idea, a little twist on my cave experience. I think today I'm going to limit my visit to just this part of the cave. I think this is more than enough to take in for one day, at least for my poor brain. And then I can come back tomorrow or the day after that, and then I can pay for the lantern guide and go into the dark passageways and have that experience, rather than having them both at the same time. I think that will suit my turtle nature. I just love to do everything slowly and have a chance to absorb it. And I think this is more than enough for one day. Eventually, when I come to the end of this cave, I want to be able to just turn around and slowly go back to the entrance, without feeling like I have to hurry up because I have more caves to go explore. I think I'll do that on a separate day. But wow. And I'm really enjoying not having a guide, to be honest, because I can just stand here for as long as I want. And even seeing, I saw this part of the cave, what's ahead of me already, but I was standing over there. But now that I'm standing here, I sort of see it all from a brand new point of view. So this is what I'm looking at right now. That is amazing. And there's some of the roof structure ahead. And then the tunnel ahead of me. Around every corner is something new. Look at this display. That is very nice. I still find it interesting that you get such different shapes right beside each other. Like right here at the top, those stalactites are very lumpy with round protrusions everywhere. And yet in the exact same place, you have these formations that are very smooth, and fan-like, almost like gills or something. So why, in the exact same spot in the cave, does this form here, and then right above it, you've got those bulbous stalactites with all the bumps on them. Yeah, everywhere you look, there's different shapes and styles. Slowly working my way into the cave. It's still going on. I didn't have any idea that it was as long as it's turning out to be, or as big, or as dramatic. I'm very, very pleasantly surprised. For a 40 baht experience, This is pretty extraordinary. Just everything around me just looks incredible. Not to get all Planet Doug on you, but I often get the feeling like I'm on the set of a Star Trek movie or something. Like I'm on some sort of a Star Trek alien world, like they built this cave for a classic confrontation between the bad guy and the crew of the Enterprise. It just has that feeling, almost like someone could have designed this as part of a theme park. To give you a sense of what I mean, that's where I came from. That's the cave back there, and you come in on this path, in between all of these rock formations. I guess it makes sense when you think about it logically. I was thinking about this pathway, and like, what business does such a natural path, what business does it have being here? Almost like it was designed for humans. But it makes sense, of course, because, as I mentioned in other caves, this was a riverbed. So, in fact, this pathway, wasn't built for human feet. It was created by the flow of water. So it's only natural that a cave ends up feeling like it was made expressly for people to walk through it, once the river isn't flowing anymore. Wow. Look at that. Every direction you point your camera, you come across something very interesting. And this is something I find quite interesting. I've been talking about this in almost every cave, that these stalactites are formed by water, dripping from up above. But it really doesn't work the way you would think, because if water, was flowing down this and then leaving mineral deposits, you'd expect it to be wet from top to bottom. But it isn't. The top is perfectly dry, and then as you go down towards the bottom, then it becomes wet. As you can see, right, like down here at the bottom, that's where all the moisture has gathered and is dripping off. So it seems to me like the water is seeping through the interior of the rock. It's not running down the outside, it's actually seeping through the middle, and then it emerges out the bottom. And that's kind of how it works. So all this rock is kind of porous, and the water is flowing through the middle of the rock rather than, dripping along the outside of it. If that makes any sense at all. I may have reached the very end. I'm not entirely sure yet. But there's another shrine ahead of me, and then there's a giant sign saying you can't go beyond this point, and if you do, it's a 5,000 baht fine. So yeah, this is a very different sort of rock formation right here. I'm wondering whether this actually was kind of a cave-in, that it fell from the roof. Because it doesn't look like stalactite or stalagmite. I'm wondering whether it fell out of that big gap up there, and this whole hunk of rock just came crashing down at some point in history. And here's the shrine I mentioned. But I still haven't come across a reclining Buddha, and I thought that was where this cave was leading to. And then here's the sign. No entry, 5,000 baht fine. This is different too. Something all tourists of the Chiang Dao cave, you are not allowed to bathe in the cave. Whoever transgressed this must be fined 5,000. And this was so important, they even wrote down the day this law was passed, March 1st, 2013. So apparently there's water here, and people in the past would bathe in it. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't see any water over there, but maybe there used to be. No risk of bathing anyway, even if you wanted to. And yeah, I guess this is the end of the road. They have some more explanation over here. Dear all tourists of the Chiang Dao Cave, if you'd like to visit a cave without electricity, lamp and guide, you are not allowed to go alone. If you disobey and got hurt or accident, we will not take any responsibility for you. Violation fines. Kind of a mixed message, as a lot of these signs have mixed messages. It says you can't go, but if you do, you know, we will not take any responsibility for you. So it's almost like they're saying, well, you can go, just understand that you're on your own. Again, that's understandable. Some tourist gets lost in there. You know, the cost of a rescue operation is very high. But yeah, this seems to be the official end of the cave. And there's something up here. The Buddha image in the manner of reclining, facing upwards, was built by a hermit named Ukantha in 2456 BE. So there is a reclining Buddha. And here it is right here. I'm slowly making my way back to the entrance. I've switched over to the GoPro now. I'm curious about the difference between the video from the Panasonic and now from the GoPro. Though this is the brightest part of the cave. And on my previous cave trips, I accidentally had the GoPro set to a very low ISO. And now I've opened it up so that I can go as high, you know, to the maximum ISO that the GoPro can reach. So it should be a lot better in low light now. It might look grainy, but at least you can see something, you know, because it can go up to 6400 ISO, which is a big difference, you know, compared to what it was like before. Yeah, I'm definitely going to limit my caving today to just this cavern. This is more than enough to take in. There's really no need. For most people, I think this is all you would need to do. It's so interesting, and there's so much to see here, and it's so nicely lit up that I'm not sure that going into the other caves with a lantern guide, you know, would add much to the experience for most people. I'll probably come back and do it myself, you know, on a different day. But to be honest, I don't think there's a great need to do so, really, unless you're really interested in caves and you want to see everything that there is to see. I'm back at the main entrance to the cave, just about to step outside into the real world. And yeah, it's a beautiful spot. Show you what it looks like. You saw it at the beginning, but I think it's worth seeing again. And there's a sign here that I didn't notice the first time around. Plang Jang, the housing of the Buddha image built by Burmese architecture in 2178 BE. So they're saying that some of this is quite old as well. And what I didn't notice before as well is up on the actual stone cliff there, you can see some carved images sitting on little ledges. And then there's another whole sequence of ledges up there and images over there as well. So this whole cavern has been developed on all sides. Every crevice, like the one here, has Buddha images inside. So I think I'm going to go up there because I want to see if I can see a little bit more. Take off my shoes and head up. Yeah, this is quite interesting. These creatures here, I'm not sure I've seen anything quite like those before either. And from up here, you get a better view of the interior of this entryway. There's a couple of, several reclining Buddhas up there on that ledge. More of them over there. Quite an interesting area back here as well. You can see the sky up there through the cracks. Something that occurred to me now that I'm back at the entrance and I'm about to head out into the real world again, is that in all the other caves that I visited, it had a dramatic feeling of change, moving from the dark interior of the cave to the bright world outside. You really felt like after you'd been into the cave, you'd been somewhere really special, a very otherworldly kind of experience. But in this cave, coming out of it, I'm not having that same feeling because it's so well lit on the inside. I don't have that stark distinction between the dark interior and then the light world outside. So I guess that's one argument in favor of going into an actual cave in its natural environment, where it's so dark. You definitely feel the darkness, and then you really appreciate the light when you come back to the surface. But with this cave, you don't have that experience. But with the lights, you definitely see a lot more of the interior and all the rock formations. So, pros and cons. Back in the real world now, I commented that I wasn't feeling the difference between the dark interior and the bright world out here. But I am feeling the difference in temperature. It's nice and cool inside the cave. And the second I stepped outside of the cave, even to here, this feels a bit like a furnace hitting me right now. Yeah, we're moving into the hot season in Thailand. But yeah, from every side of the stairwell, I can just feel the heat just hitting me like a wave from out there. Yeah, I really feel it. That looks quite interesting. Some very old chedi right there. And I talked to a local guy about this figure, and I'm not entirely sure I understood him, but he said that it is related to COVID-19, that he's asking for donations for people who have died, donations for their gravestone or for their burial site, and you write down your name and address and how much you donated. And I guess it's for people that died during the pandemic. That's what he was telling me anyway. And I thought it might be that because he is wearing a mask. And the guy I was talking to, he says, yeah, they do that on purpose because they're trying to train people to, wear a mask during the pandemic. It's part of the public education process for, health and safety during the pandemic. Anyway, I guess I'm on my way out. There's the entrance to the cave complex. Still working my way towards the car park. Had to shut down, well, I didn't shut down the GoPro. It shut down a couple of times. It overheated. Another reason why I'm quite happy to be using the G85 a lot now. The G85 never overheats, never shuts down. But as I was making my way out, I noticed that there's a lot more history to this temple than you might realize if all you do is go see the cave and leave again. I noticed some quite old structures scattered about, some very old ruins, Chedi. And I just found this area that looks kind of interesting. I don't think this wall is particularly old, but there might be something back here that's part of the temple's history. Oh, the gate is locked there, so you can't go through. Yeah, I don't know what that sign probably says, no entry. But I think I saw some very old Chedi on a hill back here. Yeah, there they are right there. So yeah, there's some very old ruins up here at the top. So this is a part of the old temple. But it's sealed off now, you can't go up there. Huh, yeah, that's what I saw. As you walk around these temples, you often find these little houses tucked away in the back corners. And this, of course, is where the monks live. So, yeah, there's the old ruins here. But I don't know anything about them. And that is it, I guess. My first visit to the Chiang Dao cave. I may or may not come back to do it a second time and go through the other section with a lantern guide. Depends on how my time here in Chiang Dao works out. I'm kind of interested in doing it. We'll see how that works out. Got the entrance to the cave complex and the temple behind me there with the hill, the mountain up above it. Yeah, very much worth doing. Especially if you happen to be in Chiang Dao, if you happen to be traveling between Chiang Mai and Pai, I would definitely zoom up here to Chiang Dao, check out the cave. Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit, and for 40 baht, you really can't beat the price, I have to say. Yeah, I like that a lot. That was very enjoyable. And with that, I'm going to shut down. I'm so hot out here right now. Man, yeah, the temperature is climbing. And with that, yes, I will see you in the next video, whether that's inside a cave or somewhere else entirely. And I thought I'd finish the day with a stop off at my favorite place in Chiang Dao, the Pronto coffee shop. But here's the inside of the coffee shop. It's nicely air conditioned inside now, which is why I came inside. And just outside there, you can see the mountain. And I ordered, check that out, I ordered a delicious, I assume it's delicious, mango yogurt smoothie. And yeah, look at that presentation. Yeah, it looks amazing. Big chunks of mango or something on the top. So I'm going to dive into that. Let's give this a try. This is going to be my lunch. That is a heavy, heavy smoothie. That's nice. That's what I was hoping for, because it's not just a mango smoothie, it's a mango yogurt smoothie. So it has the mango flavor. It's very thick, it's ice cold, obviously, but it also has a real tangy flavor to go along with it. You know, that's the yogurt plus the mango. So yeah, very tangy and sharp. I like that. 75 baht for this.